Okay, let's see. Dutch. I've had bad things happen. I've had bad things happen when I played f5. And, alrighty. I was just ready to play e6. I'm just being real honest. That was the first thought I actually had right there. It was just play e6. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, let's not do that. Let's play knight f6. Alrighty, now I can play this if I really want to. Or maybe I want to do this. Let's try this. Knight here. Can I get this move in one shot? I'm going to try for it. Pawn push, bishop takes, pawn takes, mate. Alrighty. What about pawn push right now? I could get this in one shot. Let's do it. What's the scoop? What is the scoop here? If there's an opening I don't know a whole lot about, it's the opening called the Dutch, the one that I'm playing right now. Let's take here. I have a good center. This knight on c3, I think I can take him out of the ball game by playing c6, and he doesn't have a good square to go to. Maybe knight d5 is available, but maybe it's not. Those are fantastic pieces of commentary right there. Did you pick up on that one? Knight d5 is a good move, but maybe it's not. Yeah. Let's keep going with that line. I was thinking that because of just c6 and then something with like bishop b4 later. About c6 right now, or just bishop here. Yeah, if maybe I could just take that. Yeah, let's go for this right now. I'm not afraid of knight d5. If I'm going to play bishop b4, I'm doing it with the intention of eventually killing the knight and maybe ruining their structure. And maybe I could rely upon the c5 square. If I'm going to shatter the queenside structure, here's one thing I could rely upon: the c5 square. I think now is a time I need to throw a question to the bishop, and I think what's necessary is bishop takes knight, as otherwise white either gets stuck in a situation where one of two things happens. A, the bishop is trapped, or B, there's structural damage on the queen side. I could be wrong, though, because of issues on this diagonal. The queen may be grabbing the pawn or coming here with check, etc. Let's see about some things, though. Throw a question to the bishop for starters. Let's do it. Let's see what white decides on. And then only then will I make my next move, my next decision. Only then will I run with my next plan. Keep in mind that I am aware of the pressure on f5 here, and I'm miscalculating. If I take with my knight, I'm dropping this. I have to recapture my queen. Silly me. Okay. Alright, well, this knight is pinned. I could maybe play here. I could, well, I should really take that knight now. Or, if I want to preserve my dark square bishop, if I don't take the knight, I have to play c6. I think I like c6. Let's go with it. Just constrain the knight. My bishop might want to come back around here or something. That would be a pretty good diagonal for it, wouldn't it? How's the center looking? Is there enough control over it? Pawn push, how do I react to that? Pawn push here, I chase the knight to maybe a better square. Maybe. I think for starters, castling is good. I do like this as a follow-up. The bishop can't play here because of fork land. If the bishop plays here, I push here, stop the threat on this, although actually it wouldn't even be a threat. Now that the bishop is not guarding this square, this move is all the more appealing. Because A, hits the knight, B, guards d3, and now this acts as a support point. I think the bishop needs to run back. Don't know that you could really tolerate a knight landing here. Additionally, I am threatening c4. If I play c5, I chase the knight away, but I allow for knight d5. I played here for a reason, and he's kind of just stuck there. I could land here with check. I can also grab here. If I grab here, I run into tricky stuff with knight takes pawn. I'm going to do this instead, and then as a follow-up, what? Oh, you know what? You know what I have available to me? Structural damage. If the queen takes, I could play here. And now I can push that knight away. And as a follow-up, play my bishop here. There's queen checks available on this side of the board, on the B file. Just want to get this pawn. If I get this pawn, that's the game. And I don't know that there's a way that that could be prevented. For a second, I thought that this is a threat, but my knight is there to watch over it. I think a knight with this type of position, I lost track of time as well. That happens from time to time, to lose track of time. But anyhow, I think this is just intolerable. A knight just held in the hand, not on the chessboard, is worth 3 points. But when you throw it in certain squares on the board, if it's too deep in your opponent's position, it starts to become worth a lot more. That's what we're seeing here. It's just too difficult to work around. This is an open file, but as long as my knight hangs around here, there's nothing exciting happening. Now that move, okay, well, there's tricks, isn't there? Let's do this. The knight has to go back. And we are castle on opposite sides. I could have grabbed this pawn. Let's do it now. Rook up and over is available. This is a passed pawn now. Oh, I could have taken the knight. I could have taken the knight after that pawn push. Oh, man. Oh, man. What can you do? Yeah, just grab the pawn, Jerry. Jerry, just grab the pawn. Yeah. Just grab that pawn, because who needs a knight, right? And your queen is not ready to get trapped, is she? Can we just trade, please? No, that's a losing move. Let's just move here, 18 seconds. Give a check, hope for the best. Hope for the best. Don't take a knight, whatever you do. No, you don't want to take a knight. Grab this pawn. I just want to take that knight. I just take that knight. Okay, get free. Over here, mate and 2 threat. On the knight. Tricky stuff. This is winning. But, wow. After a5, a4, I should have just grabbed that knight right there. Ah, good game. Let's hit the rewind. Let's flip the board. And let's take something away from this, hopefully. Alright, right here. Right here, right now. Keep in mind what it is white wants to do here. What it is. What is it that white wants to do? Excuse me. What is it that black wants to do? Let's get it right here. Black wants to get an e5 in one shot. So, maybe you should make black think twice about that. Consider d5 before I'm able to get this move in. You can maybe look to get a knight on that square one day. Knight f3, d4, e6. It's a sensitive point in the Dutch defense. It's one of the many weakened squares that comes about as a result of playing move 1, f5. As soon as you do this, what is slightly weakened? e6. As soon as I move this, what becomes a hole? e6. Sensitive point. Consider, instead of e3, consider d5. And then there's even possibilities for your knight eyeing this square by way of h3, which seems awkward, but it's just a temporary post. Knight h3, f4, and maybe even one of these two. If I'm going to be pushing your bishop around, there's two holes, e6 and g6. Where would a knight like to be if both e6 and g6 have been weakened? The answer, f4, because it eyes both of them. So that's just another thing to have in mind. H6 is quite typical to see at some point or another. I don't know if I should say typical. It's natural looking enough. I don't know if it's correct or not, but to just want to throw a question at that bishop. But knight h3 to f4, knight f3 to d4. One of these two squares, having a close eye on it, d5, lending a support point for your eventual knight to land there. All worth a closer look. I think things turn out to be just fine here. Also, I don't know that you really benefit by exchanging here. I think keeping your pawn right here, maybe you want to push, maybe you want to take, keep me guessing. Because what does this move do? Which one of my pieces is helped out as a result of this exchange? And these are things that you could be questioning when you're playing your own game. How does this benefit me? You could ask yourself. How does this maybe benefit my opponent? By having this exchange, it's just equal material, pawn for pawn. But this is a more valuable pawn, being that it's your only one you have present on one of these four center squares. And additionally, by having this exchange, you help black because of what? Guess which piece has more mobility? It's this guy. He only has one square, but after this exchange, 2, 3, 4, and this is the one that I ended up making use of. And the one where I was having you, a move I ended up making you react to. But if you keep this tension, what do I do in the meantime? Let's say you play your knight here. What might be a common move to see? Bishop e7. Well, now if you go ahead and capture, and I recapture, if I'm really wanting to make use of b4, I'm having to take an extra step. I'm having to take an extra move. Additionally, should you play knight f3 here, and I go with g6, I'm doing that so I can fiend cut on my bishop. If you then capture, then again, it's meaningless to play here. I'm having to take 2 steps. So just be a bit more patient. Keep the tension in the center, in other words, if you do get to this point. But my earliest suggestion is to maybe look into that d5 move. Okay, it does allow for my knight to maybe make use of this square. You could be defending against that, just more development. e3, still knight out. But look into d5. Look into not capturing in this position as well. Okay.